Hi, welcome to our first vlog on Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Scott from Pixel Makers.
And I'm the wife, Sam.
And we enjoy Game of Thrones, so we thought we'd just put together a little video blog on what our thoughts were this season, episode by episode.
Season 6.
Yeah, so this is Season 6, Episode 2. And if you haven't seen Episode 2 or any of the other ones back before this, stop. Don't watch the rest of the video. You won't understand any of what we're talking about, and we'll spoil everything for you.
Yes, lots and lots of spoilers.
So, cool. Well,
okay.
First thing.
I am so delighted that Bran is back. Like, yes! And his voice has dropped, so woo!
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, he's growing up. He's becoming his own, you know? He's not shadowed by his brothers, you know, and
I guess it's good. Like, it's good that he has, like, it's good that he's older now, but, like, he definitely grew quite a bit in the season that we, like, missed him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, immediately it was like, whoa, he's older. And it's like,
and he's got a big schnoz now.
Yeah, well, he always had kind of a big schnoz. Coming from another person with a big schnoz. What did you think about their whole, like, Ghost of Christmas Past type of thing? Like, ooh, we're gonna go back into the past, and
I admit it's kind of a cheesy way of doing things, but after watching the outtakes right after the episode, and they explained we don't like doing, you know, flashbacks, I can see why. They're a lame-ass way to tell a story, you know?
Yeah, it was cool, though, the fact that it was, like, his dad and his brother, like, fighting and sparring. He could see, like, it's pretty much the same scene from the beginning of Game of Thrones, where he's fighting, and they're standing up on the thing. So it was kind of, like, very bookend-ish of, like, oh, yeah, see how far he's come.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, realistically, we haven't really grown that much with Bran. Like, he's traveled across and found the three-eyed crow, you know, but, like, he hasn't really grown as a character yet, I feel like. It was cool to see that Hodor has a real name, Winston.
Willis.
Willis?
I think it's Willis. And he talks, so something had to have happened between that flashback and now that made him Hodor.
I kind of thought that they were going to have Ned fight him, and then all of a sudden, like, hits him in the head, and then all he can say is Hodor. It's like, oh dang, my dad totally made this guy, like, not be able to talk.
Aw, sadness, poor Hodor.
But, you know, good to catch up with those guys and make sure that that's still happening, you know.
Well, let's go on to who's next. Cersei?
Well, yeah, there was the bit with the funeral for her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jaime and the son kind of reconciling, like, hey, yeah, you probably shouldn't have let the guys, like, parade your mom around town naked and your wife. maybe that wasn't the most kingly thing to do. Which in hindsight is 2020 probably isn't.
And I'm kind of on the fence about the Lannisters, especially Jaime and Cersei, just because they've done a lot of cruel, stupid shit in this show, but now they're finally getting their comeuppance, and it's like, oh, okay, have they suffered enough now, you know?
I see, the thing is, when I was watching it, and just kind of set up the scene, Jaime, like, makes his son leave, and then the, Sparrow King, or whatever.
Yeah, the High Sparrow.
High Sparrow.
Yes.
Comes down, and then you kind of knew, like, oh, is this the part where he's gonna die? But I'm like, no, he has something up his sleeve. He always has some cronies there.
But it was definitely an ambush. Like,
and
they surrounded him. Something's going to happen to Jaime. We just don't know what.
And so it's a little, like, disappointing that he didn't, like, I was telling Sam, I was like, stab him! Why are you stabbing the High Sparrow guy? Like, come on! And she's like, Jaime's the bad guy. I'm like, I still want to see the High Sparrow die.
Exactly. You don't know who you're rooting for in this show, you know?
I don't know, like, Cersei's I don't like more than Jaime. I still kind of like Jaime, even though he's a bad guy.
Well, the whole incest thing will always put him in a bad light for me, but whatever. No, I agree. Like, Jamie is definitely the character that I'm like, you know what? He's put up with a lot of shit. Cersei, she kind of deserves what comes to her. Sorry.
Okay, well, onward and upward. What about Tyrion and the king of dragons, or the father of dragons?
The father, or the crazy uncle of dragons. No, he used to be in the show so much, and now I feel like he's hardly even in it. And when he is, it's like,
I don't know. This was cool. Like, honestly, that was one of the coolest scenes in the show. This episode, not because it was bloody or character building necessarily. It was just cool to see the CG of the dragons, like, up close, and seeing them, like, you know, kind of, like, rearing their faces, and, you kind of had, the dragons had more character in this.
yeah.
And I liked how when he turned to the other one, even though it was kind of, like, standoffish, it turned and like, knocked the little thing towards him.
It's just like, take it off, come on, take it off.
Also, although the funniest part in the whole show was where Tyrion's like, I'm gonna go let the dragons out, and then also it cuts to the next scene, and it's like, the guy from Pete's Dragon, where they're standing in front of the cave. You know, they're just standing up at the top of the thing, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like,
it's like, I'm just here to help you. Don't eat the help. Oh yeah, and he has like the best one-liners in this too.
Yeah.
I love that part. So.
People need to make some T-shirts of the quotes from Tyrion from this episode. But I think that overall that was good. It was just kind of filler, and I think right now he's just kind of filling in. I imagine that this thing is going to blow back at him like it did with the mother of dragons. You know, like she had the dragons out and they started killing villagers and things like that.
This could potentially bite him in the ass.
I imagine that they are going to start killing people again, but I kind of feel like Tyrion's just not going to care. Like, people are going to come to him and be like, hey, he killed my son who was out in the farm, and it's like, well...
So your dragons killed all my sheep in my field.
Next time you hear a dragon coming, don't come crawling to me. I think that's probably going to be more of his, like, attitude to it. I don't think he's going to be very sympathetic to
Which is totally badass, by the way. But anyway.
Oh my gosh, Ramsay.
Okay, I'm going to go on record. Okay, I thought I hated Joffrey. I swear. This man, I was actually reading an article. He's like the most hated man on TV right now. I can see why. I just want to punch him in his freaking throat. I hate him. Hate.
Well, so what he does is he finds out that he has a baby brother.
Yeah.
So he kills his father.
Well, not only a baby brother, but the baby brother has more claim to the throne than, or the lordship or whatever.
Because his mom was like a... Well, I think that was the reason, was that he was
considered a bastard.
He's like a bastard kind of, and so there was something like that. But this child is actually like, you know,
the actual heir to the Bolton whatever
throne, and so he knew that as this baby grows up, he's gonna get on the outs. And even the dad's like, "Oh, you'll always be my first son." Stab, stab, stab. You know, you'll always be my dead dad.
And the fact that the servants totally went along with it, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Do they not have any loyalty?
Well, and then the thing that was really, like, I think the hardest part about this episode was he fed the baby and his mom to the dogs.
This poor lady who, I guess, was in love with the elder Bolton. Why, I don't know. But yeah, she just had a baby, and it was just so heart-wrenching. Just, if you had seen me while watching the episode, I was like grabbing Scott and like, oh, I was so upset.
Yeah, it was definitely like the hardest part about the episode, and I mean, our Justice isn't doing it. I mean, like, as you're watching the episode, you're like, oh my gosh, did they just do that? Luckily, it wasn't as bad as like the part where they burn the kids and stuff on the other episodes.
That was pretty bad.
But it is one of those things, because they cut away from it. They didn't actually show the wolves, like, attacking her, thank God. That would have been a little bit disheartening. But I think that it was...
He's going to get his.
Yeah.
I know it. It will happen. It's just taking a really long effing time.
Well, and then on the other hand, I mean, I guess we kind of did a little flashback to, like, what's her name? Sansa?
Oh, Sansa.
And she's just, like, kind of milling around. It sounds like Greyjoy.
Oh
is
yeah,
gonna go back to the
Theon, who is finally growing a pair. Yes, pun intended. Is realizing, okay, I like, even it sounded like he was like, I thought I would die trying to save you. I thought I would die doing this. Apparently I'm not dead yet, so I'm going to try and go home. Well, good for you. Awesome. And it was the Iron Isles or Iron Towers. I can't remember what the place is called, but and so they go there, and we realize that the father gets killed by the brother, and so the sister. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this episode, and that side of things I think is going to boil up to a bigger thing. But right now, when the dad was like walking on the island, it was like totally a Han Solo, Ben Solo situation. Like, you don't walk out on a platform and be an old guy expecting to live. So you kind of knew he was going to get thrown off.
Especially when the guy's telling him, you're in my way, I'm the storm, I'm the whatever. And it was completely obvious. HBO, what's wrong with you?
Well, it's still good. It was still good.
Well,
good
yeah,
TV,
but I was like, okay, moving on. I'm bored now. But let's go ahead and get to the very last bit, the part that everybody was waiting for. Jon Snow coming back to life.
Bum, bum, bum. Ah! Well, okay, here's the thing with Jon Snow coming back to life. I was actually talking to Steve on Pixel Wingers here about this last week, and I was saying, oh, well, is the lady in red going to bring her back to life, and is that too cliche? Like, is it too expected, Or would it be better to do something more clever, like have a White Walker or something bring them back to life in a different way, or something like that, or some like Bran or something, who knows. But he was saying, well, it's kind of unexpected because it's so suspected. Like, you almost so expect it to happen that, when it does happen, you're like, oh wow, I'm surprised they didn't do something else.
I'm sorry, that sounds kind of like a cop out to me.
Yeah, to me that's a bit of like, like, is the wine poisoned on your side of the table or mine? Or did I switch it with yours or you switch it with mine? And, it's kind of like, you can always play that card and say that they're trying to be so clever, they're switching it back around on yourself. It was a little expected. I'm glad that Jon's back because that's good. But I was even telling Sam when it was happening, I was like, this is like the 101 Dalmatians where it's like, the puppy's dead.
And he rub. And all you can hear is the lone clock in the background, ticking away.
And everyone leaves, and then there's just the dog there, and then all of a sudden it comes back alive. It's like, so like when I knew everyone left, I was like, oh, the dog's gonna wake up and he's gonna come back to life, and then it's like, dog wakes up, comes back to life. It's like end of the show. It's like,
You know what I wish they had done instead? Because I was talking to my boss Deborah from work. And she was telling me, I don't know if this is like fan fiction or if this really happened in the books or what, but Jon Snow gets brought back, but as his dog, as his wolf, Ghost. And see, I think that would have been...
And that would have been a fun idea to play with,
and that's why Bran would be an important part, because he can look through anyone's, like, eyes.
They should have, like, sacrificed a chicken and brought him back as a chicken.
Sure.
I mean, end to end with it like, oh, I'm alive. It's like, I kind of wish that they actually had ended it with him not coming back to life,
and maybe still leaving us on like a cliffhanger, like, no, not again.
Because that's a little more Games of Thrones-y.
Yes, we're gonna co-opt that word. Anyway, go ahead.
But I mean, ultimately, I wasn't just mad about it or anything. It was awesome. That episode was packed full of good, good story. Some really great visuals. We didn't even talk about the mountain smashing the guy's head into the wall, but that was cool. Just as a side note.
It's like, I don't ever want to mess with him. I just putting it out there.
So yeah.
Cool.
That was the episode.
We liked it. We're looking forward to next week's. Woo!
All right, like and subscribe, and tell us what you think. These are just our personal thoughts, so if you have any other ideas of what they could have done with Jon Snow, or if you have any ideas of about what's going to be happening next, possibly how Ramsay's going to die. I'd love to find out how that happens. So.
Yes, I'm all for that.
Leave some comments, subscribe, and have a good time.
All right, thanks. Mwah.